Hey, welcome. My name is Dino. This video is on Corporate Communication 2.0. Basically, this video is a distillation of some of the work I want to do to make my course, Corporate Communication, even better. It's like the 2.0 version of it. So let me do a quick introduction. Some of you, I'm sure, hopefully know what this building is. Good old Chrysler building. The course specifically is called CM333 Corporate Communication. It's a communications course, as you would like to know. The inspiration for this is dual, and these are kind of broad inspirations for this revamp of the course. First is to address student learning needs as well as personal past learning needs. What I mean by student learning needs are what I found over the course of running this course several times, how I find students react to some of the content within it, and I'm trying to address those deficiencies. As well, I've been a student for a long time, and I always try to, when I work in my courses, to make them address what were shortcomings when I had my own classes, either as an educator or as a student. So I'm trying to address those. It's a little bit vague, but I mean that in good ways. And also, I want to improve the learning experience across a number of factors, which I'll address in a few moments, for both current and prospective students, because I expect this course ideally to run again in the future. Fingers crossed. Let's deal with representation. One of the challenges I've found is that for your typical communication student, corporate communication seems somewhere a bit beyond them in terms of just as a subject matter. In short, many of them may not have proper corporate experience, so the idea of corporate communication seems a bit far-fetched. And as well, if you check any stats, it seems like the corporate world is not as representative of the broad-based student body that we get at CUNY. As a result, I want representation for students to feel that this course helps them feel represented in corporations, but also as even a cursory examination of most academic environments, it's not as representative of our diversity of our student body. So those are both challenges. So some of the benefits I see from doing what the implementation of what I'll be doing, and I'll be talking about that in a few seconds, is help students see themselves and as well as their academic challenges in class. And first, in terms of representation for self, it's just that you can see yourself within a course, and part of that is as a person who teaches now but was previously a student, I had my own academic challenges in class, and so I think oftentimes students will see a professor and they'll see like our credentials and go, "Oh my God, that person is somewhat bright, somewhat academically accomplished, but they don't understand the hard work and some of the struggles we had," and that's a form of representation I'm trying to have. So in terms of the implementation, so based on a friend of mine, he talked about it. I never actually saw the work itself, but he talked about this idea of sort of, we often share as professors a success biography where it talks about all your accomplishments, and it can be a bit intimidating. So instead I have this, it's a tale of academic adversity, and I'm putting that within a getting to know you activity, so towards the beginning of the year, to have students know that their own personal challenges, they're also reflected in the academia through a getting to know you activity, and more specifically me talking about some of the challenges I face academically, so that students will go, my professor's struggled academically, he's made it. Ideally, the struggles I have are also temporary and that I can also make it. Next is inclusion and accessibility. There's been a bit of a pushback against the idea of inclusion and accessibility in corporate environments in terms of, again, the typical representation of people at CUNY or across New York is not necessarily what you're going to see reflected in a corporate environment. And something what I talked about before is that our students are not really included in corporate environments and find them accessible. And then similarly, that's also true for academic environments where academia, for both good and bad, it's a gatekeeper for a lot of things, like specifically graduate school for undergrad, and also for the workforce. Like you need to be able to succeed, and that will help you as a stepping stone. And as a result, we're not normally as inclusive to all of the various constituencies that we have in our classes, and we don't make our classes accessible to them as well. So one of the benefits I'm hoping to do is, and to address that challenge, is to make renewable assignments. Those are assessments that matter outside of academia. What you often find in terms of, I think, CUNY, and especially specific to School of Professional Studies, is that there's a thirst by students to not just have purely theoretical assignments that are just, for the sake of academics, but to try to make them more applicable to outside of academia, which also reflects that many of our students are non-traditional learners who are coming from various are coming are with us at various stages of their lives. So we're trying to make sure that they're addressed. And so my implementation is to broaden the final project in this specific course to bridge the post-CUNY gap. For example, more specifically, it's very theoretical. And so what I want to do is to make it more practical and to allow students to help be able to feel included within the assignment and to see that the assignments we do here help them address some of the challenges that they may face as they're going forward past their time at CUNY and trying to get into the corporate world. And then finally, student voice and choice. The challenge is that we often have limited student voice and choice in academics. We all have to have syllabi, and that's great. It provides a structure for our courses. It helps us know what we're doing, and it helps students know what they're going to be learning in a course. But unfortunately, like, that structure is really good. That's positive. One of the negatives is that there's often not the ability to both voice themselves within the syllabus and the course, as well as to make various choices. And then similarly to the last point I made, I want to have these renewable assignments, or again, assessments that matter outside of academia. So I want to provide a final project choice so that students are able to not just have one final project, but have multiple different interests and areas that they can address within a course. So I'm trying to, again, instead of having one assignment that ideally fits all, it's to allow them to have multiple choices. And so part of that is, again, initially it's a final project that's an essay. Now I'm going to let them do something more applied. For example, if they want to work on if they have their own brand, and unfortunately, we are often our own brands these days. So it could be something as simple as providing the development of their brand, which could be a design product to create, say, a logo or something like that. It could be designing a website that helps to showcase their own talents, etc., etc. Finally, in conclusion, it's good to end on a conclusion. The course CM 333, Corporate Communication, has been around for many, many years, and I've had the privilege and pleasure of doing it. I've had the privilege and pleasure of trying to update it over the years. That is good. However, because the course has been around for such a long time, and it often has a legacy of being an academic area, which I think happens in many, many courses, is that the representation of our students, making our courses inclusive to them, making them accessible to them, as well as providing opportunities for student voice and choice, oftentimes, unfortunately, are not included in these courses. And as a result, I'm going to be trying to ensure that all of those various vectors, these various opportunities, these various challenges are addressed in the learning environment through making, again, by me showing myself in the class in a very naked way in terms of some of my academic struggles to help them deal with representation, to make the course more inclusive and accessible, as well as honoring student voice and choice by having a final project that helps them both transition to the workforce, but also helps them to articulate their student voice and choice. That is Corporate Communication 2.0. Thanks for watching the video. Please feel free to comment on it if you have any comments. How do you think you can make your courses better? I really prefer and really be excited for you to share them with me. Thanks.